Welcome everyone to Property Auction Hunters, and we are live. So whether you're joining us live or catching on replay, you're in for something quite unique today. We're not just here to talk about auctions, okay? We're here to break them down in real time and give you the inside track from people who actually know what to do, how to buy, how to sell, and we do it pretty much every month of the year. My name is Jay. This is Piotr, Safe, and Adam will be joining us in a moment, and we are 4 people who live and breathe auctions. We're here to give you the unfiltered, no fluff edition of what's going on in the auction market right now. So if you're watching this live, drop us a quick hello in the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. It'll be great to hear who's online and who's with us today. So before we dive in, a big welcome to everyone joining us. Whether you're a regular on the channel or you're just tuning in for your first time, you're in the right place. So if you're curious about auctions, whether you're buying, selling, invest, or just to sharpen your knowledge, this live stream is for you. We're here to lift the curtain on what really happens in the auction room. Again, no fluff, no scripted entertainment. No one's going to jump in behind me with a hammer and beat me over the head. It's just real insights from real people who do this every day. Our goal today is really very simple: to make auctions more accessible, to break down the process, and to ultimately help more people do more deals with confidence. So if that sounds good to you, stick around and enjoy the show. It's going to be fantastic. And Mr. Lawrence has joined us. There we go. So all we have to do now is make sure that the auctioneers are running to time, because we pretty much nailed it.
Nice intro, Jay. Well, the sales are about to start, and we'll share the screen when those things are live. And yeah, welcome everyone.
This is the next best thing to in-room auctions, the nostalgia from in-room auctions, eh?
Yes.
I spoke at an event last week, and someone said, "Oh, do you think I'll ever go back to being in room?" And I said, "You have to understand the cost of putting an auction in the room is a chunk of cash. You know, depending on where you are. Like if you're in the north, maybe it's £5,000 or whatever. But if you're in the south, it's 25 to 50,000 pounds, all things considered. When you put that money back into the bottom line of those auctioneers, there is no way. You know, if it cost Savills 50 grand to put an auction in room and they're doing almost 2 a month, that's some real money that they're putting back onto the bottom line. So it's unlikely to happen. But there are still 2 or 3 auctioneers that are holding on fast. They're not letting they got a death grip on those rooms. You got Barnard Marcus, who still hold their rooms in person. You got Lovitz from Coventry and Warwickshire, and I think there's one more in the west, like Bristol way, Western way, that still
Cottons,
hold their room in person. Which
There's
one?
Cottons, isn't? Is it Cottons? I think Cottons still do it in person.
I think Cottons do as well. Yes, yeah. From the mid-country,
So
Birmingham way.
3 mega auctions today: Savills, Auction House London, and Allsop. Interesting that Auction House London have delayed till 10 a.m. because normally they're at 9 a.m. So yeah, just thought let everyone else get a bit of a head start on me.
Especially that I have 200 lots of it today or so. So it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, and Auction House London last month had probably one of their best auctions in a long time as well. Probably one of the best, maybe all time, who knows. So yeah, auction market is definitely heating up.
I think some auctioneers, you know, if they're running an auction on the same day, because it's not the first time auctions and Auction House London and Savills have clashed, or Auction House London and Allsops have clashed. I don't know if it's the first time the 3 have clashed on the same day, but there have been clashes in the past. And auctioneers are very protective of that first kind of 10 to 25 lots in their catalogue. They want no distractions. So one of them is always going to elect to start a little bit later, so that they can feel at least like they have an uninterrupted audience.
You know why?
For the start of their auction.
It's because all of them are just still hungover from Mipham last week.
Yeah, that's it. So you think Savills took the short straw and had to start early? Do you think that's what happened?
Probably.
Brilliant.
Well, Savills is still not. They still haven't started, so maybe they're still hungover. But we've got Allsop going on right now, so I'll share the screen with you guys. Here you go.
I don't think you guys hear him just yet. but we can't hear him yet. But this is an
The sound
interesting
is
one,
off.
right? Because when COVID kicked off, Allsops were bidding widget only, eBay style only, and now they've kind of gone onto this live stream, but they did it very late. I mean, they only started doing this last year, but they really put some effort into it. You know, that's I think that's like a virtual background. I don't think it looks real, or if it is real, it looks really good camera quality.
Amazing.
go.
Adam, are you bidding on anything today?
Well, in our setup, I don't bid personally, so that gets looked after by the office. So we have got our eye on quite a few things. We kind of find ourselves at the moment looking quite a bit at what's post and what's pre, and we've been putting a bit more effort into both of those really. But we got a couple of good bits a couple of weeks ago, which we were quite happy with. Been variable, to be honest, this year. So we probably look at 4-figure number of lots per month. So, you know, vast majority of what goes up, most of that, 90+% of it gets dismissed pretty quickly, you know, within a matter of seconds, really. And then the remaining sort of 8-9%, yeah, it's a little bit of work spent on it, and then discussion, and then a deeper dive, and then a plan, really. But if something, that process obviously can be deviated from if there's something that the person who goes through the top of the funnel, if you like, is quite experienced. And if she sees something and knows that it needs an immediate bit of action, then we'll look at it and try and put a bid together pretty quickly.
Adam, just out of interest as well, obviously with the whole rent reform bill and everything else that's going on at the minute, are you guys still picking up tenanted stock at auction? And if so, what's your kind of main red flags as to, you know, what is going to be potentially a problematic tenant, even with everything that's going on at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, we've always kind of managed that. I don't think it really changes the way we manage that risk, because we've always managed that risk as assume the worst case scenario on the tenancy front, and if, as in we would assume no rent for 12 months, and if we can, and that's factored into our figures, and if we can beat that, which we do 99% of the time, then there's a bit of extra juice in the deal. So I would say, I mean, it's a great question, because I think it will be putting people off. You obviously, guys know you get thin packs sometimes, so compliance is going to be a deal. You know, if you're looking back at what's happened before you own the property, we're going to go through a period, aren't we, of 5 years of test cases and things like that, in terms of whether the current landlord would be liable for something the previous landlord did, based on the fact that there's not a gas safe on file from 2021. I don't know. I'm less concerned about that on the individual property level, because 97-98% of tenants want a good home to live in, and we find honestly that when we buy stock at auction, we get surprise from people when we say, yeah, what we're doing is we're going to do the works that you want doing, and they're like, oh, right, okay, oh, great, that's great, thank you. So they know they're having a bit of a step change. If it's the case, the previous landlord, you know, there's a lot of stock that you see in auction that is old school rules, as in, you know, you didn't put the rent up on me, but you never fix anything.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff was agreed verbally. And those, the one difficult conversation the tenancy team has to have is probably, look, you're paying 500 quid, market rent is 950. We appreciate you would like a new kitchen, and perhaps it needs a new kitchen, but if it has all the cosmetics, you'll have to be affordability scored at 950. Or we stay where we are in terms of the condition of the property, but it's still going to need to move to 750. What do you want to do? We'll support you with that. We're not sending you an eviction notice on day one, but we are having the tough conversation that it's not 50 pence in the pound just because it could do with a bit of a cosmetic.
Fine. Well, lot 153 is approaching, which Adam has yet to put a prediction on, so it might be worth Adam just having a look quickly at lot 153 in Savills, see where you think the land will lie.
I think Jay's just starting off the day.
Yeah, PR, I think Jay's just seen mine and your prediction and just went straight in the middle. I think he's not even looked at the
How very, Dare you, Mr. Dursley? I guarantee you there's at least one occasion in here where I've undercut the pair of you by a substantial margin. Actually, I've undercut you both by a substantial margin.
Okay, we'll see. So just for everyone's knowledge, we've got a little table here with some lots that we found of interest, and we put our predictions with what's happening. So the first one coming up will be the Savills lot 153. So Savills today's got commercial auction day. They've got only commercial lots pretty much for the first part of the auction, and then more residential lots. This one is a commercial in somewhere in High Street, Barnet, so North London, and it'll be interesting to see. Predictions are in, and we'll see.
Yeah, just to be clear as well.
Remember, just a quick reminder: it's leasehold retail.
It is leasehold, and I think I don't know how much research you guys did, but this is one of a few of those that were offered, and previous ones sold, and it's my prediction of 222.
Just to be clear as well, Piot's chosen everything commercial, so that's a bit of a bias because everyone knows that Piot and Jay buy commercial. I don't. I buy resi. And the second thing is Piot's had a week head start on us. I think he's chosen these lots a week earlier, done all the research, and then sent it to us yesterday at about 5 p.m. Just for context, that's all.
Talk about getting your excuses in up front, say. Come on.
I love Adam says Adam says get your excuses in up front and then goes $2,000 below Piot's guess.
I hadn't even borne in mind what you guys did.
That's it.
I can't go last and not attract criticism, can I? That's the problem. So it is what it is.
Brilliant. And if you guys are watching, drop us your prediction for what you think lot 153 from Savills might be selling for, and why do you think so? And
can you,
my tip.
Can you pull it up quickly, Piotr, just so everyone can have a look at it on the screen? What lot 153?
Yes, I can. So just for a tip for everyone, check the EIG history of this property. It's rather useful to know it. So this is the property. It's a leasehold, commercial shop, and it's producing £20,000 per annum with potential for 25. That's what they say. Actually, it's producing 19 with a top up to 20. And it's a small shop, lease until 2029, and that's really it. It's perfect for SaaS or SIP investor.
I did look up Glamorous Nails, and their reviews recently have not been great. They've got new team members that have let their customers down. So I don't think this is lasting forever. The good news is there's a good reversionary rent that you can asset manage this on. So that's the good news. The bad news is I don't think Glamorous Nails are going to last for that long.
Well, look at you doing due diligence like a commercial property investor, checking out the business Google reviews, and did they submit their account?
When it comes to EIG, though, I did not have time for EIG. I had to shoot off the hip on that one. So just expectation management there.
I've got a Quentin Tarantino film name in my mind, you know, in Glamorous Nails or something like that. I don't know if you know that one. It's a classic. It's a classic.
Absolute classic, yeah. It's a World War II biopic, apparently.
Okay, amazing. Well, let's put the auction in.
We can't hear it, by the way, Piotr. Can you put the volume on it?
Underbid, come straight back.
On now?
There he is, yeah.
Thank you very much. Looking for 522 now. Looking for 522.
Nicholson Boyd.
Underbidder, don't stop me now.
I quite like his auctioneering style, because I think without realizing it, he starts quoting like lyrics from songs. I don't know if anyone's noticed that before.
For the second
says
time.
"Don't Stop Me Now," which is a Queen lyric.
520.
He says a couple of other things as well, which is brilliant.
Final time, unless I get a bit of 522. Are we all done, ladies and gentlemen? 522, leaving it last minute again. Looking for 524. Underbidder, come straight back. 524, thank you. Looking for 526 now. Looking for 526. Underbidder, can I tempt you back? No? You done? Okay. 524,000 for the first time. 5. Greg, give me a 1. Give me a 1. Under bidder. I'll give you a 1. I made it nice and easy. You're going to lose it for £1,000. Are you going to lose it for £1,000?
Beautiful auctioneering. Goes up in 2s. Once,
Yes.
twice.
Okay.
Just give me a 1.
Tells
Give me
you
500.
off. Tells you off. Come on. Come on.
Give me a
Tempt you
quid.
back into the game.
Just give me a quid.
Don't let him nick it for a grand.
Clip round the ear. Clip round the ear.
524,000, ladies and gentlemen, going for the third and final time, unless I get a bid of 525. Are we all done, ladies and gentlemen? Last chance to be involved. If not,
Do you think this is
your
selling?
piece. Just waiting for Greg to give me the nod here on
490
this one.
guide.
524,000 for the third.
Gavel's been in the air a long time, hasn't it? A long time in the air, that gavel.
He's waiting for someone's nod.
Doesn't look
Don't
like
think
it. Look at that hang time. Oh,
Unfortunately, we're very close and we can't just
there we go. What a
He was
dummy.
waiting for the-
What a dummy.
He was waiting for the nod, which never happened.
153.
Okay, High Street Barnet. Who was right?
Oh,
So
70 High Street. 70
this is
High Street
interesting
Barnet.
because we typically advise people to like offer the freehold with the commercial because it just makes so much more sense. However, like those leaseholds are also pretty good for SIP and SAS investors because they cannot buy anything that's got a residential element in it.
200 increments of 5.
oh, we've
Okay.
got a guess here from Ed. Ed is going for 215 at
205.
Glamorous
Looking
Nails.
for 205. Current bids at 205. Thank you. Looking for 210. Looking for 210.
He knows something that we
Looking for
don't.
210. 210 straight
He-
back in.
he-
Wrong bidding.
buying it for 215,
I have.
that's what
Thank
it
you.
is.
220.
Keep the momentum.
220.
Come on.
Current bids 215. Looking for 220. We're all done. 220.
Good
Thank you.
momentum.
Looking for 225. Looking for
Oof.
225. Thank you. 225. I have. Looking for 230.
Nice.
Looking for 230. Current bid is 225. Looking for 230.
That's
All online at the
Piotr and
moment.
Adam out and Ed.
I'll just change the sheet as we go
235.
along and then that'll sort it out.
240.
235. Leave it there. Leave it there.
230. Come straight back.
240. There's another bid in this.
Don't
100%.
even think about it.
This is not
No.
going to go for 235.
We'll lose for £5,000.
Don't lose it for 5.
Done.
Come on.
Current bid is 235,000. Looking for 240, ladies and gentlemen. We all done?
240.
In.
On the nose.
Here come the
240. Come on.
£2 grand. Here come the £2 grand.
Okay.
No. They've had shit. They've had
235,000
shit Google
first
reviews.
Unless I get
No,
a
no,
bid
no,
of
no.
240.
Let me just log in and bid quickly on this.
Second time, unless I get a bid of 240. 235.
But if they had bad Google reviews, that
Final
means
time.
they will go
We're all
out and you
done.
can rent it for 25.
Exactly.
Oh,
237. Underbidder.
Talk
can I
about
tempt you
buying
back?
yourself some time.
There's your $2 grand.
there's the
Come on.
two.
Underbidder, can I tempt you back at 237?
You
Underbidding.
don't
want
take the
this.
twos, you won't drop to one.
I can see you hovering. Don't be shy.
That
Don't
would
lose it for
split the difference.
£2,000.
That would split the difference between J and Safe.
It's led at over it's led at £20,000 per annum. Nice asset. Good
Hit
part of
that
the world.
button. Beautiful asset.
Greg, give me a 1. 236.
Oh, he went to the one.
236.
Desperado. It's done.
No. Okay. 235,000 for the first time. 235,000
There's another bid in
for the
this.
second
I'm telling
time.
you.
236. Looking for 237.
There we go.
Oh,
237.
no.
Straight back at me. 237.
Come
Straight back.
on.
Looking for 238. Individual 236. Don't let it go for £1,000.
Let it go for
238.
£1,000.
Not much to think about here.
One more bid.
238.
That's all.
Straight back in. Looking for 239.
There we go.
239. I have. Straight back. Looking for 240.
Safe's
Good
wrestled the
bidding, good bidding,
chalice.
ladies
He's
and
wrestled the
Good bidding is
chalice.
good bidding.
1-0.
Theft and villainy.
Individual 238 comes
Villainy.
straight back to me at 240.
Just
1-0,
240.
0-0.
Well, that's a glorious start.
Click the button.
Safe.
Nice and easy these days. You don't even need to raise your hand. No, we
That
done?
button.
Okay.
I need one more.
239,000 going for the first time.
There's another bid in this.
239,000.
There you go.
240. Thank you. Looking for
240.
241 now. Looking for 241. Thank you. Looking for 242. Looking for 242.
What
Just
about
leave it
the
there and I'll be
Google
happy.
reviews?
Individual 240 comes straight back to me at 242, please.
No, I'm happy with it there. Leave it
I
there.
tell you what, to his credit, he's
All done?
set up an extra like $7,000 out of nowhere.
241,000 for
Well.
the first time. 241,000 for the second time. 241,000 going for the third and final time, unless I get a bid at 242. We all done, ladies and gentlemen? Last chance to be involved.
Right.
241,000 for the third and final time. Just waiting for my colleague Greg to give me the nod.
Come on, Greg. Give him the nod.
Come on, Greg, sort your life out. How long does it take to
Third
nod?
and final time. You happy, Greg? You are now 241,000 sold.
On the
Wow.
Commiserations to
Wow.
the underbidder. Well done to
Oh.
bidder on that one. We are now moving on to
The
lot
nose.
154.
That's
Wow.
a disgusting start,
22
Dave.
Forest
That's
Hill Road, East
absolutely
Dulwich.
disgusting.
You get extra points for draining it on the button.
Oh, that's on the absolute nose. That's disgusting.
Amazing. Well,
I always
And I
said he
promise I
pays
was
too
not
much
bidding.
for stuff. Always said he pays too much.
amazing. Well, the next lot we have is this one, which is basically it's a freehold, multi-commercial with uppers, resi uppers. However, the resi uppers are sold off, and a few of the commercials are also sold off. So basically, you're effective buying freehold with ground rent on 3 commercial units, and 3 commercial units are let, producing 18,000 per annum. And they are let to Bakery, Tranquility, and Tranquility. So
Tranquility, just for everyone's information, is a Chinese medicine place. Not many Google reviews.
I think
brilliant. So,
I've been the most bullish on this one by the looks of things, which
Yeah,
tears apart Safe comment that I just went in between him and PR. I'm bullish on this one.
this one is very much a trade because it was purchased a year ago from Clive Emerson auction. It was arranged as freehold with 6 commercials. Looks like 3 of the commercials were sold off in the meantime. And this was purchased at 10% yield from Clive Emerson. 35k of income, 350k purchase price or so, more or less.
This could be a Mr. N special.
Mr. N special, yes. Who knows, knows.
Exactly.
So here are our guesses. I was saying 182, Adam 189, Jay 209. Interesting.
I'm bullish.
And
I'm bullish.
204 from Safe.
It's a good asset. It's freehold. It's I mean, the rents are not high. There's an increased rent if if you get the leases coming to an end. So I think it's a good asset. I really do. And Worthing's a good area as well. They rent out really easily.
I think Tranquility might be, or whatever they're called, might be a bidder.
Do you think so? Because obviously they have probably they would have had a chance to buy this over the last year, and they haven't.
Yeah, but don't forget, did they want to buy the whole parade? And did they have the capital to buy the whole parade? Or do they want to buy a smaller parade that's more affordable, that's got 66% of their property on it in terms of the lease?
Yeah, makes sense. Well, it's coming up.
121 to 1278 Rollins Road and 76 to 80 Heen Road, Worthing. Freehold, high-yielding, multi-let, mixed-use investment, fully let corner parade of 6 retail units with residential upper parts sold off on long lease. Investment led at 18,000 per annum. Nice double-digit yields on that. Great, kick me off at 150, please. I'm going to go up in increments of, no, actually, 140 increments of 5. 140 increments of 5.
Interesting
Let's
when
get
they
the party
go
started,
late
ladies and
on.
gentlemen. 140 increments, 143, looking for 145. Looking for 145, thank you. Looking for 150 now. Looking for 150. Individual
That's just to
starting
get
out
some
from
traction
50, straight
on it.
back in. Looking for 155. 155, thank you. Looking for 160 now. Looking for 160. Individuals with 150 come back to me at 160. Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Go for it again. Current bid's 155, looking for 160. 160.
Well,
Thank you
isn't
very
he?
much. You bidder,
Don't
looking
think
for
about it.
165.
Don't think about it. Just press the button.
165. 165. Thank
Really
you.
numbers on the
Looking
screen.
for 170 now. Looking for 170. Current bid is 165. Looking for 170. On the bidder.
Going down, huh?
Gonna come back.
Momentum is everything with bidding. There's
170.
more in this,
Thank
don't
you.
worry.
Looking for
This will get to
175.
200. This will get to 200.
175. Individual 165. Come back to me 175.
Ed is saying 196.
Don't leave it to the last
for lot-
minute. You'll regret it.
For lot 55. Let's see.
Greg, give me a 2. It might tempt him back.
Morning to everyone
172.
watching.
Looking for
Morning,
172.
Avi. Morning, Jack. Morning, everyone else. It's good turnout today.
No, 170,000 for the first time, 170,000
Do
for
you
the
feel
second
this is
time,
it?
170,000 for the
Impossible.
third
It sells
and
at
final
this.
time,
This
unless I get a bid of
is
172.
disgusting behaviour.
It won't sell at 170. It won't sell at 170. There's a couple of
No,
grand.
okay, 170,000 for the first time, 170,000 for the second time, 170,000 for the third and final time. Swing for Greg, give me the nod. On the bidder, you're losing it for 1,000 quid.
What a deal.
170,000
What a deal
third
if they
and
pick it up
final
at
time.
170.
Oh,
So
What an absolute steal.
lot 156.
Wow.
wow.
Well done, the winner.
What
on
an
that one, by the way.
absolute
Apologies.
steal.
How was the closest?
Moving on to the next call.
Finally, after 2 years of not
The
winning
bear,
them.
the bear wins. The bear wins.
Wow.
That
That
is
is
an
an absolute steal.
Too much
That has
uncertainty
200k
on
written all over it.
leasehold, rehold, reform, etc., etc. People are just like, why bother? Is that what it is?
I think tranquility's put them off.
I
I
think
think Tranquility stole it for 170.
the top bidders are tuned into the stream and then just said, look, Sage said no, so it's off. It's off.
That is
How are all
That is
stops getting on,
cheap
Piotr?
for Worthing.
What lot? 8. Okay.
Amazing. Well, we're going to look at also auction now. We've got some predictions coming up for this auction as well. And they're actually moving at really good speed. They started 20 minutes ago and they're already at lot 8. So fairly good speed. And let's listen to the auctioneer and kind of listen to the difference in the style of auctioneering, because it's a world of difference between Allsop and Savills.
For a third, back in at 261, it has helped. I've got 261, 262 I now have. Make it 263.
I think this and tranquility will be a double
Online, the phone's
tranquility.
gone down. First time. Back in at 263, 64. 64, 65.
Let's see.
264 I have, with 265. First time. It's back in 265. Against you now. Bids 265,000 lot 8. Another 1,000 if you will, which he has. 266. Make it 267. 67, 68.
So you guys
68,
think the
69.
style of auctioneering is different because they handle a lot of corporate lots and there's a lot of corporate
268 I have. Make it
clients
269.
to satisfy? What do you think?
First time at
I
268.
think the appearance is more important, isn't it? And it's more likely to sway people who put stuff in, and they obviously want to look the smoothest. They obviously want the audio to be the best quality, all the rest of that. And it's to vendors who will care about that stuff, whether they do psychologically or whether they do openly, you know.
It's definitely part of the
Make it
culture as
271.
well.
Don't
because
delay like last time. You
when
almost
we
missed
have-
out. The bid's 270
When
and
we
it is
have the
against you
guys
now.
from Allsops coming to our boardroom for drinks in the
First time at
evening,
270.
they're a completely different vibe.
Second time at
Savills
270.
guys are there, or if the Auction House London guys
271.
there, or if Clive
72.
Emerson, whoever is
72 I
there,
have, 73.
they are just a little bit more centered, you know. They dignified.
Say what you really mean, Jake. Come on.
73 now,
Well,
74.
You know, and look, we have we've got good relationships with all of them, but they just
274 I now
they
have
behave
online.
very
Make it
differently.
275.
Like there's an element of what Savills and Auction House London do in terms of
I've got 275
how
online.
they are
actually.
animated and how they
Got a new
use
phone with
energy
her,
to
so
kind
it's
of
not all
engage
online
with
for
people
now,
that
but it
I
is
find
yours
enjoyable.
for
It's good
275.
TV.
I'm looking at 276.
But you
Yeah.
can't really argue with the fact that this guy he's not monotone.
First time at
He's
275.
he's not rushing people, but
Gonna
he's
go,
getting the
Rose.
bidding
Second
up.
time at
So
275.
the result is the same. Yeah.
For the
Yeah,
third and
interesting.
Final time at 200.
I think the other day I was-
Housing Association flat for sale. Must
We were
be.
going to buy something the other day, and it was in Sabs, and the legal pack wasn't there, and we agreed a price. And then when the pack came through, I was quite surprised to see, I don't remember, but maybe 8-10 grand's worth of fees that were also written in words, not in numbers. And it obviously the transaction fell over because we said well, whatever it is, it's going to have to come off the purchase price because we've done our numbers without these extraneous fees. Because it wasn't a trader, I don't think it was a trader. So obviously the deal fell apart. But I don't envisage that happening in Allsops anytime soon, really.
They are drawn. I spoke to Stuart at the last boardroom, and he said it's something they're paying a lot of attention to, and they're calling it out. Obviously not publicly, but they're approaching their vendors saying this isn't allowed.
Yeah,
it's nice to see.
It was a nasty surprise, but it just wasted everybody's time really in the end.
I mean, I've seen not just traders, but I've seen just standard vendors now. A few auctioneers are saying to the vendors, just put all your fees into the legal pack. So that's starting to become pretty standard now, depending on which solicitor you use. But most solicitors just have it as a standard special condition now.
Well, I was about to say, we had a client and they were using a solicitor that we hadn't used before or recommended, and we looked at the legal pack and there was a chunk of fees in there. We said, what the hell are you doing? And they said, oh, we didn't ask them to do that. So now just law firms have them baked into the packs. So yeah,
guys,
it's
so
not ideal.
With regards to guessing lots for Allsop, we've got several. Let me just bring it on the screen. We've got several lots: lot 15, lot 16A, and lot 18. And what's interesting is that lot 15, most of us were looking at in the morning. It was still available. It is now sold prior, and it's really interesting how those deals happen just before the auction, which tells me there was two things happening. Either the offer was so good that they just took it, or there was very little interest and they just took the offer that was available where someone was ready to do it.
I'm going to go with the former, Piotr. So I think by default I win on that one. The offer was just too good. It's too good.
I'm there. Like, it was a guide, and there was only one bidder.
They're not taking an offer without starting with a 9. Not pre-auction. not half an hour before the auction. That's for sure.
Well, I guarantee you that wasn't an offer half an hour before the auction. That was an offer that was made on Monday, and they finally got it done this morning, because it always comes, if it's within 24, 48 hours of the auction, it always drags out to the last 10 minutes.
It does, but it's also interesting what happens when you receive an offer pre-auction and that offer gets accepted, because we had two situations like this recently, and literally there's a bidding war starting pre-auction from people that weren't even expected to bid, but just hearing that there's an offer accepted, they come up with offers because they don't want to lose the property. So
as a trader, we generally will not take pre-auction offers, because if someone's willing to pay that pre-auction, they're willing to pay more at the auction, 9 times out of 10. So for me, I would never take something like that last minute pre-auction. I'd always let it run, unless you thought there was only one registered bidder, which is the bidder that's giving you the pre-auction, then you'd probably take that. But generally, if you've got a few bidders registered on it, bit of interest, bit of traction, you'll always let that run,
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. So let's just bring this up. So this one's sold. Well, we have lot 16A, which is going to be next. How do I go to the next lot? I can't. Okay. Usually there was an option. So lot 16A is the one we're going to be looking at. Safe is your lot, all residential. Sure you will.
Outside of my area of competence, my area of competence is sub 200k, but that's fine. That's okay. Just setting the tone for everyone.
Amazing. So this is a building, a freehold building. This one in the corner in Holloway in Caledonian Road. And it's 3 self-contained flats, 2 2-bedrooms and 1 1-bedroom on the top floor. And each flat is subject to a tenancy. But when looking at the tenancy, you can see that 2 of the flats, the 2 beds, are let on a company let. And when you look at the photos, you can clearly see that those are service accommodations units. Yes, towels and beautifully done things.
Adam, did you notice how Piotr chose 2 major assets next to where he used to live, Holloway? And this is the assets he used to sell for his clients a lot of the time.
Not saying that he likes to press his advantages, but
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but all the dots are adding up.
Brilliant. Well, let's see what this is going to sell for, and the flats total size 2184 square feet.
I went a little bit low on this one. I went a little bit low. I think I undercut everybody on this.
What did you say? You said
I went 1.140. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think the company let situation, I think it makes funding it an interesting. I mean, obviously it's lendable, but I think they kind of look at it, and the LTV changed a little bit. So the amount of capital you have to leave in it changed a little bit, and I think the yield is affected a little bit because it's. So I think it's good income, but I think I nudged it down a little bit because of that, and it looks really nice. Which is
so. Question: do you think they've been trying to sell this property since Christmas, and they just didn't manage to do it, and now it's in the auction? Because this photo tells me those photos were taken in December.
Yeah. Santa's on the way. Yeah.
Could just be someone that's been lazy and not put it back in the loft.
My opinion is this is very much £750 a square foot kind of area, and it's this could be worth around 1.6 million broken into 3 different flats, 3 leaseholds. However, anyone buying this needs a margin, especially with the stamp duty at the level it is now, and no multiple dwellings relief. I think this is someone needs a margin, and it's not going to be end user who overpays for something like that. It'll be someone who's looking at this from a numbers perspective. What do you guys think?
I think so too. I want to hear Adam's methodology for valuing this one, because the number looks very very specific. I mean,
Adam's methodology was to go in between me and save.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It actually wasn't. I just did it on yield. So it might look like that, but I think I just did it on an 8% yield. So it wasn't that much, because I thought, you know what, nice place, nice building, that's very viable. That's obviously the gross. Well, that's obviously not before stamp and everything else. So that would all be considered. But I'm a big believer that people do things on even if they've got big bats they're swinging around, they do things on relatively basic
fundamentals
thoughts. Yeah, exactly. And I think I'd be. I mean, look, I respect you guys' opinion, and I'm not near the top on almost anything else apart from the last one. So yeah, not sure, and I'm still mulling over the. I love the way you guys think a CGI is worth 100 grand, apart from anything else. But I appreciate there's more to it than that. But I do think it's going to be pretty tight. But let's see.
It's not a CGI. It's an artist impression. Artist impressions are very valuable.
Sounds like something cool or something. Yeah.
Artist impressions subject to planning. Subject to everything.
It's like an NFT.
Well, in that case, it could be any price and then 0 in 3 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what the trick is with this, Adam, as well? Is when I started doing predictions back in the day, when I used to get them all wrong, I always used to think, what would I pay for something, you know, or what would someone potentially pay for it? But the reality is, you've got to be thinking in the consumer's mind, you know, or when you look at an asset like this that we're obviously looking at in Holloway, you've got to be thinking someone's going to be buying that you know, probably has deep pockets. It's not going to be a fund or anything like that. It's going to be someone that's going to be in that kind of mid-range, probably maybe family office money, maybe, who knows, maybe someone that just wants to do a bit of asset management, you know, and has a couple of £1 million to deploy. But it's just trying to put yourself in their shoes and think, what would they pay for it? Plus adding all the adrenaline on the day of the auction. You know, sometimes the logic goes out the window last minute as well on the last bids, etc. And then that kind of gets you to a figure. So yeah, CGIs play a massive role. Not saying like they used to during COVID 2021 times, but they still do. You know, they just give people an idea of what they can get on it. And if you have those retail buyers, they will pay that bit more for it.
Just so you guys know, this this lot offered right now. It's quite an interesting one too. It's actually a freehold ground rent secured on 34 flats, producing 13,600, and it says this commercial space subject to lease as well.
165 online.
So yeah, this is quite interesting time to be selling a freehold ground rent, because in the past this would have sold for about 20 times the ground rent income.
175, which I now have. 180, Cameron.
What are they selling for now? About 10,
175
10, 15, depending on what the risk is.
Yeah, 10 is usually pretty usual, yeah. 15 is when there's some extra potential.
Take 2.5 online as well for the third and final time.
It is the risk that they're not, you're basing it just purely based on ground rent, and the risk that you might not get that premium in the future if they abolish the marriage value. Is that the risk?
185 I have online. 87.5, Cameron.
Well, to be honest, I think there's not going to be even that much of a lease extension marriage value, because this is 250-year leases. I think it's pure income and the ability to basically insure the property and do some stuff there, but quite a big. Well,
they're closing down all the loopholes of making money off insurance and all the rest of it when managing a block, and I think that's where a lot of people are making their money.
Well, it's sold for 185 of 13.6k income, so that's about 7.5%.
Decent multiple.
275.
13 times.
Yeah, so
Adam will do the maths.
100, 185, 7.35%.
Opening bid on the phone at 275. I'll take 280.
Doesn't get anybody too excited, does it?
Take 280.
Especially when you have to deploy fully cash as well. No lending on that.
Interesting question from Bushra. Piotr, which style do you think is better, Savills or Allsop? Well, I think the real question is we're waiting for Andrew Pinstock to come, and I think that's a preferred style. It's really dynamic, but I like Savills as well. Allsop I find a little bit dry, and suitable for different type of audience. And I remember even going to auctions with Allsop in the room. It was all very like not boring, but how would you say it differently, Jay?
Vanilla.
The first time I went to an Allsop auction, it was the first time I'd ever heard an auctioneer tell the room to shush.
305,000 for 310.
And he wouldn't start bidding or offering the lot until there was absolute silence. I thought, wow, that's an ego. That's unbelievable. But yeah,
how's that being in the classroom?
Horses for courses at the end of the day.
Morning EAG
property. I think the question is also, whether you're bidding or whether you're selling. So if you're buying or you're selling, that is a different kettle of fish, because we've seen it with people like Pinstock, etc., where they can squeeze out, or even just Savills just now. They squeezed out an extra $7,000, $6,000, whatever it was, and that alone can make a big difference. Whereas if you've got an auctioneer that's in a bit of a rush, I don't know, they're maybe getting towards the end of their time being on the rostrum, they're getting tired. They just want to rush it through. They just want to get it sold. Whereas if you can really long it out and get as many bids from that as possible, squeeze that lemon as hard as you can, you're going to get more for your sellers. So if you're a buyer in that situation, you won't like it. If you're a seller, you will.
That's why I think there's some good auctions for buying from and some good auctions for selling into. And
that's why auction arbitrage exists.
Exactly. And I think also with some auctions, it's good to do things post-auction. And some auctions, it's good to do things pre-auction. There's like different kettle of fish for every single different auction.
Plenty of time to think.
Well,
now's the time to bid, and you have
lot 14. So we've got 2 lots coming into our prediction, lot 16.
Interesting that 16A as well, by the way.
Sorry?
I said it's interesting that it's an A lot and not just a straight 16 lot.
What's the significance of A, the say? Could you explain for everyone?
Yeah, so just obviously, usually it's a late entry into a catalogue. So if they've obviously done their whole catalogue from 1 to 100, for example, and then someone comes in after the catalogue's already been created, then they'll have to slot it in somewhere. So they give them an A, B lot, etc. So that usually means it's a late entry. Most of the time, it's traders, majority of the time. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a trader as well. It could just be that it's a housing association selling it pretty last minute. They don't want to wait till the next auction. Sometimes people don't have auctions in April, so you have to wait until May. So it just depends.
365. I'll take 367.5. Are we all done? It's with you.
I like the top bar and also auction. Total lot so far 21.
372.5.
Total raise 6 million. It's a good thing to keep people attention on, and it just like makes you want this number to go up. I guess if you're a bidder.
So total sold so far 21. So does that mean they've had 6 extra lots or A lots, B lots?
I think that means they include lots sold prior. So
right, okay.
The lot 15 hasn't been offered yet, but was already sold.
Sold prior. What's this? Milton Keynes.
Lot 15 has sold prior, so we move to lot 16, which is flat 4, Priam Lodge, Burheath Road in Epsom, Surrey. It's a leasehold, share, freehold, self-contained.
Milan asked a very deep question. Which auctions are best for buying? Which ones are best for selling as a trader?
I mean, Milan, if you really want to take our secret source as business people, then yeah, we could tell you, but we'd have to kill you.
Literally, that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Those are the kind of things that we wouldn't be able to share on a public YouTube like this. It's more of a private room conversation with few select people.
It's 182,500.
I was about to say that it's exactly that. You could probably join the 4 of us out in Portugal from the 5th till the 11th of April, where we'll be talking about how to buy and sell at auction using arbitrage. I think that's a subject that Safe covers quite thoroughly in his chat. But yeah, public forum, really not the best place to answer that question.
97.5, that's better, that's quicker. 197.5, make it 200. Okay, I've got 197,500.
And also, it's really interesting to see or hear what's happening behind the scenes. Because obviously on the screen, we see this very polished image, but then behind the camera, there's probably several people on the phones trying to reach the telephone bidders. Some people trying to manage proxy bidders that's still registering to bid. At least with Auctioneers London and with Savills, people can register to bid all the way until the lot is offered. So there's like members of staff working in the background to register people to make them basically ready to bid. And
then there'll be a couple of people who are currently sending out the contracts on the lots that have sold and putting the solicitors into contact and taking deposits and doing all of that kind of logistical nightmare stuff.
And I'm sure there's a member of staff answering the door once in a while for a person who's stumbling into the office trying to bid in person.
I think we need to do a behind the scenes video on what happens behind the scenes in auctions.
Definitely.
Jay, let's organise that for next month.
Oh yes, yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Tell us if that is something that you want to see. Give us a comment. Do you want to see behind the scenes of what happens in auctions?
On auction day, yeah, on auction day.
Yeah, we'll just cut out all the swearing.
Is next up, which is 560 Caledonian Road in Holloway, N7.
There we go.
Freehold terrace
Here
building.
we are.
Turning information provide 3 self-contained flats, nice looking building, good income there, just short of £100,000.
I don't think this income from this property looks really good, but it is slightly overinflated for this being let to a company that does Airbnb. I think the rental on the 2-bed flats would be about 2.5, and it's 3K to the company, so slightly overinflated.
That's why I think roughly 8%-ish yield for the overinflated, income for that kind of area is probably about right for a freehold asset. Yeah, I think if that was proper rent, you'd probably look more like 6%, 6.5 maybe.
Let's
start at 1.25 and go up in once.
and 20 and 30 and 30 and 40 and 40 and 50.
Very reassuring
A little thing
style
here.
of
Okay.
auctioneering, right?
For
You
now, it's
feel
a
like
million
you've
and
done the right
40.
thing by
Bids are on
placing
the
a
phones
bid.
for the time being. There's quite a few
He's
people online.
he's not
All
boring or
watching this video.
monotone, but he's
Bid.
very
What else do you want to
comforting.
do?
It's like that was the
Million and
right
40 I have.
choice.
There's more
Like,
in
there's a
this.
lot of
But I'm going to call it.
call it.
At a million
Calling it
40.
already, wow.
All online, bids on the phone. First time at a million 40.
What does that mean, calling
Second
it?
time, you're going to miss out. Second
He
time.
Calling
thinks there's no
them
other bidders.
once,
Yeah.
twice.
Make 10 more. I've got a new bidder. He left it late, a million 50.
Yeah,
I've got
nice.
that online.
New
Well, he's not
bidder.
left it that late, has he?
Got them out of the woodwork, didn't he? With the early call.
Then 10, make it 60.
I've messaged him. I told him, get up to 1.25. Come on, son. You can do this.
He's just a premature bidulator. There you
Your,
go.
your reputation's on the line here.
This YouTube channel is going to cost me millions.
Million 70. Still quite a few of you online yet to bid. So don't delay. I'm going to call it again. So I've got a million 60. First time. Second time. Third and final time at £1,060,000. It's against you online.
1.15. I'm 1.14, Ed. So you're a little bit more bullish than I am. But I agree. I think the company lets are the issue.
I've dropped it to 5 now. Okay.
Against you online still. 75 I have. Make it 80.
It's moving, it's moving.
Make it 80.
It looks like Jay is a
I'm not
the
sure.
likely
Let's
winner
find
so
out.
far.
1,075,000 it is. Still against you online. And
But we had a
on the phone. First
situation
time.
last auction. Obviously, like
Second
what we
time.
do is we help
I'll
people
take
sell
5
properties
more
in
for
auctions
third
as
and
well
final.
as do our own
1,075,000.
things.
Take 80 if you
And
want.
when we
And
place
80,
properties in
85,
auctions,
90.
we advise people on the reserve prices and guide prices.
And 90,
And we
95.
took on those garages in Slough, and
95 I'll take.
basically they were guided 125. They're planning for a bungalow, and the bidding was about to finish
Yeah,
at
last time score bid. Let's see
142.
if you mean
It was
Still against you
literally
online. It's
the
on the
hammer was
phones again.
dropping, and
At
someone bid
1,095,000.
143, and from
Plenty
there
of time to
it
think
carried
about
on
it.
to 192,000.
5,000 more if
It
you
was
will. Bids on
the
the
most
phone
insane
against you
bidding
online.
ever.
First time.
I had one
Second
the other day.
Third and final
You
time.
paid
£1,095,000.
for it.
On
Bought
the
it from
phone
auction.
against you online. Oh,
It was about to
done.
drop at
Plenty of you in
70.
there
Last
online.
few
Another five
seconds.
if
I'm
you
talking
will.
about 3 seconds, and it went from 70 all the way up to 110.
I
It
suspect
was
will be sold before the
it was
day's
nuts.
out. So do contact us.
In the
Guys,
last
meantime,
this
3
went
seconds.
Unsold.
move. So lot
Unsold.
19 is there's a few withdrawals there. So lot
Wow.
19
I
is
think
next up.
someone should just snatch
37A
it.
Kensington Mansions.
It's
Obviously
basically
self-contained
available
ground floor
1.1.
caretaker's flat.
That's what it
Good
says,
income there.
and
Again, quite a popular
that
lot.
means
Few of you
it
online
would
on the
be
phone says, well, I'm going to ask for an opening bid
£500 per
of
square foot in
let's see,
Holloway in Caledonian Road.
330,000.
That is a really
Up to
good.
2.5.
I'll take a draw. I'll take a draw. As long as Jay didn't win the point, I'll take a draw.
We all lined up there.
Unsold. That's good for me.
No one won. There is. I mean, I got closest in terms of where the bidding got to, but nobody won that. That was
Mate,
horrendous.
I'd take what you can here, Jay. To be honest with you, I
No,
think
no,
you
no,
should
no.
take it.
Yes,
No,
thanks, Adam.
it's a
I'm
draw.
taking.
I'm
That's
claiming points for something being postponed and something being sold prior at the moment. So
Amazing. So this property is also an interesting one that's being offered right now. It's actually a caretaker's flat, and it's rented
So all of the phones.
for
Does that mean
some.
it's literally a shoe cupboard if it's a caretaker's
No,
flat?
it's actually a proper flat.
350
It's
new bids on the
it's a
phone, thank
2-bedroom
you.
flat.
I'll
It's
take
about
55,
900 square feet or
55,
so,
360 then.
Oh,
and
wow.
but it's rented until 2035 at this rent 22,000. And basically, it's almost like a long lease type rental. It's 15 years or so. And what's interesting about it is that this flat, if it was vacant, it's worth around 900k.
357,500.
Yeah.
I'll take 2.5 if it helps you bidder.
Yeah,
So
And it
basically,
increases some
one,
income.
that's
This is almost like a
unbelievable.
regulated tenancy, isn't it? Really?
Second time.
this is a combo between regulated tenancy and a sort of leasehold ground rent, head lease ground rent type situation,
Sure.
where you're making decent money, but you need to probably hold it in cash,
Plenty of warning there.
and
Yeah.
there is a big payout at the end, like with
Now's the time to bid,
regulated
that's not sold.
tenancies. This went unsold as well. Look at this.
On
There
we
are some
go.
deals
Slot
to be done
20.
post auction.
That's a good flat. I mean, that's a good
let-
income.
Only self-contained low ground
Let
floor
me
caretaker's
just
flat,
pull
very
this
similar to
off
before.
screen because
Good
I think it's a
location,
really
good
good
lot.
one to discuss.
What's this one then, Piotr? Is it the same thing? Is that another similar kind of thing? This one now, lot 20.
Lot
Is that another
20.
caretaker's
Yes,
flat?
yes, those were
Maybe
2 of
330 on the
those
phone. Right, so
were.
I'm trying to bid then. 330
Right, let's
on
just
the
see
phone.
what this one, if this one sells or not, just out of
It's
interest.
330 on the phone for now. That just be an internet bidder to it then.
Adam, would you ever look at stuff like this where, you know, you're buying it at a lot lower than what its reversionary value is, but obviously you've still got an income in the meantime, and you suppose you've got 23k a year coming in from it? Not bad.
But I guess this is all about difficulty of financing. The reason
Leverage.
why I don't trade on a regular basis is because my golden rule of does it stack at 100% funding? You know, whereas a lot of traders are using cash, so they're not worrying too much about their cost of capital, if you like.
Yep.
And this is why I miss out on a lot of stuff. And I do see, and I'm not saying I get it right. I think it's just what works on investment doesn't necessarily translate directly to trading. And if you, the difficulty is sort of like risk-adjusted returns, I guess, to be boring and technical about it, which I'm sure a lot of traders don't think about it like that because they don't need to, and they have a sort of inner talent for it and heuristics and a lot of experience that lets them know. If you know you're going to make 7% on a trade, you might see that as quite acceptable because you're going to hold it for 6 weeks or whatever, right? Whereas I would say, look, I just don't think that's enough, guys. I don't think it's enough to move the money. So, and it doesn't mean that I'm right and they're wrong or the other way round. It just depends what position you're in and how much experience you've got. And also, it's a bit like for me to develop stuff, I want margins that are probably double what the average developer is looking for. Whereas some people would look at it and say, well, look, why don't I just do this £10 million development? And if I make £1 million, I've done really well. Whereas I would say, well, the trouble is sensitivity wise, that's just nowhere near enough money for the risk and the time and the effort. And if it's going to have taken you 2.5 years to do that, actually, what sort of level of return was that for your time and risk? You know, so that's a long and boring and involved answer, I know, but it's so I wouldn't say never safe. I guess it's if you've had a strong view on how the regs are going to wash out, for example, it's always interesting to look at. It's going to be easier to do this stuff now without the 2-year rule and things like that. You just got to be so cautious about your Section 42s issued and whether they're at the right price and knowing all of that, which the London market is so much better at doing than in the provinces, you know.
So we have a question for Mo. What is a regulated tenancy?
Okay, don't put me on the soapbox, but I'm going to say it anyway. People
briefly
get these things confused all the time because some people call one thing a reg and it's not a reg. Some people call one thing a protected tenancy, it's not. Someone call it, you know, so you got essentially you've got AST, that's assured short hold tenancy, right? That's how your standard let out your property as a buy-to-let landlord. If you take the short hold out of it, you have an assured tenant. That's somebody who has an assurance over their tenancy. They can stay there for, you know, beyond the terms of their agreement. It doesn't go periodic. It remains assured. Those are people that have been in occupation since like before 1997 or 1994, whichever one it is. Then you have regs. Regs come about in a myriad of different ways. One of the interesting ways that regs are created is if you have a leasehold flat and it runs down to 0 years, the freeholder takes the benefit of the flat. But if that flat is your primary residence, you then become a regulated tenant on regulated rent. There's several other ways a reg comes about, but that's one of the interesting ways. Then you have a life tenancy. This is somebody who can live in the property rent-free for the duration of their life. And that means that they don't pay you any rent at all. And you have other types of protected tenancies. And obviously, someone who put in the other day a statutory tenancy. God knows what they mean by that. It could mean anything, because technically a lot of these things are enshrined in like the 1970 something Renters Act. You know, they have additional protections. What's that?
Briefly. Let's wrap up there.
There you go.
So,
but essentially,
regulated tenancy is usually anything other than the standard assured short-hold tenancy. And it's prehistoric, and they rarely come again.
Yeah. Ideally, you need to speak to a solicitor. You need to see the actual terms of their tenancy to find out what type of protected or statutory tenant they are. And then once you know that, you then know what their rights and responsibilities are. You know what your rights and responsibilities are, and then you can behave accordingly. They can be difficult to mortgage, but they are potentially mortgageable depending on the specific circumstances around that property.
Brilliant. So just so you guys know, this property here is where is it? You can see how many tabs I've got open now between all those lots. But this property is the caretaker's flat that went unsold. It's actually 86 square meters, so just over 900 square feet. And the fun thing is, or interesting thing is, it's let on a lease of 35 years. And one of the really kind of important things to pay attention to is that if there's a lease of above 21 years, it becomes like almost like the same as the long leasehold on a flat, where you might have, or the actual leaseholder might have a right to extend that lease by serving Section 42 notice for anything above 21 years. That's what happens. That's why a lot of Grosvenor leases are below 20 years, below 21 years, because that way they don't get the right to extend. They have to pay a massive premium for the freeholder agreeing to grant a new lease. But yeah, this one is basically in this block. It's easily £1,000 a square foot flat, probably close to 1,500, maybe even. But the thing is, you have to sort it. This is what the rental is. So 35 years. It runs until 2037. So in 2037, there's a potential for reversion and getting vacant possession of this flat. So someone will have to wait 12 years.
Most likely, you're going to be sat on this as a most likely you're just going to be using this as a ground rent investment, and I think that's why it's gone unsold. It's because it's more of a ground rent investment than it is the actual reversion. I don't think anyone's going to basically, say, okay, fine, I've come to the end of the lease and just hand it over. I think they're either going to become a tenant, or they're going to renew that lease, aren't they? In reality, so you're not just going to get handed back the property.
Quick question: if you had 400k spare, totally spare, on top of everything else that you've got, would you put it in a Bitcoin for 15 years or this for 15 years?
I mean, I'm a property guy. I'd put it in that. I mean, and it's only 12 years, but I'd put it in that.
It took us a while to get Adam onto the YouTube. Let's not get him off quickly, Piotr, please.
Yeah,
please. We want to keep him on. The look
all
of
we need to do
disgust
now
on
is
his face.
all we need to do now is send him some voice notes on WhatsApp, and that'll really do it.
Like the blue touch paper, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. We've got a question from Ed, and also I've got a message from someone on Auction Buyers Club who's interested in one of the unsold lots and he wants to buy them. So I'll be on offline for a moment while you guys are chatting. So
just so we know what was said in that message was, Piotr, stop fucking talking about that lot so I can go and buy it. Okay, well, Ed, in answer to your question, we have a very fancy spreadsheet that does a calculation for short leases in terms of the cost to extend that goes below 50 years. It gets a little bit sketchy under the 7-year mark in terms of its value, the values it spits up, but otherwise the spreadsheet is really very good, and it's something that we had done for us and we use because obviously anything 50 years and above, you can just use the leaseadvice.org's calculator, which is pretty good, or you can splash a bit of cash and speak to a short lease player.
Slow last time. Not much to think about here. Just the top part from the back.
Not a lot to think about here. Come on, don't let them think. Just let them bid.
796.
I mean, interestingly, I stopped using spreadsheets, and I'm just looking at gut feeling what someone's going to price in. like a refurb job. You know, you look at something online, you think, what is someone going to think that refurb's going to cost? 20, 25, 30, whatever it is. And I kind of just go off with a gut feel. But interesting,
And
Adam, I don't
rely
know if
on the
we've seen this.
mispricing. It's just
Exactly.
relying on their mispricing. Yeah.
But in the West Midlands, we've picked up a lot of stock recently, especially around Birmingham, where it's all short lease houses, loads of stuff, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 year lease left on a house. And there's loads of them trading through auction now. They're quite popular, to be honest with you. And people will pay very close to market value on them, which is ridiculous, but it's just the way the market is.
Third and final time, unless I get a bid of 800. Are we all done? Last chance to be involved. Wait for Greg.
Adam, have you seen that around Birmingham? All the short lease houses that have been coming to market recently.
Yeah, there's been a
Market and
few
auction.
bits. Yeah, we bought one the other day. Yeah, and happy to have a go. Happy to have a go with it.
With me, please.
You're going to enfranchise on freehold, just buy the freehold.
39 years, I think. Yeah, well, that will take the free 50 years. We'll see how we go. Be part of the negotiation. But yeah, I've seen a fair few over the years, you know, Selly Oaks and things like that. Some in the it's one of those classics when you see, sometimes you see things that are sort of stacked up on top of each other, and it gets quite difficult to value because you've got a short lease, you've got a refurb to do, you've got a tenant in situ with a dispute to resolve. How do you price all of that and the time and the effort? It's really quite challenging to price at the lower level, which is why I just tend to be really quite bearish on them.
Yeah,
Give you an example, safe. The one we bought a couple of weeks ago, it's worth about 350. It needs a cosmetic, and it might need wiring and things like that, to be fair. So if you assume, I think we assumed 40k if we needed to, but it's worth 350 done. It's got 39 years on the lease, and we paid 150. So we'll only do them when they're at real no-brainer prices, you know.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, totally. I mean, with a lot of this stuff, it always just comes back down to, you know, what is someone going to look at that opportunity and think, what am I going to pay for it? So we did one in Erdington, worth 290 done up, needed minimum 80 grand refurb, probably 80 grand to buy the freehold. I think it had 7 years left on it, and it did 190 grand at auction. I think 194 in auction. You know, so sometimes people will pay more for stuff because they just misprice it completely, misprice the refurb, misprice the purchase of the freehold. And the interesting thing is as well, obviously different to Section 42s with short lease flats. When you're buying, when you're trying to franchise on the freehold for the house, you don't have to obviously wait the 2 years, which is good, but you do have to have it registered at land registry. So it's always better to get the current owner to do it, and then obviously make it assignable to you on completion.
240, thank you. 250 now.
I think
Just
we've
saves
just
it credit.
trickled over. We've just trickled over the 10 a.m. mark. We're now at 10:08, and we really should be looking over at Auction House London because we are looking at lots 3, 5, and 9.
1,240,000 going for the first time, unless I get £5,000 more. 1,240,000 for the second time. 1,240,000 for the third, and 245. Thank you. Number 250 now. 250 straight back in. 255. 255. Thank you. Number 260 now. Under bidder. Can I tempt you back at 260? 260. Thank you. Number 260.
Let's take a look at.
Not for increments in this, ladies and gentlemen. Not for property this size. If you're here for getting involved,
let's take a look at Auction House London. They should have started by now.
I'm looking for 1,265,000.
Yes, sorry guys, I have
Under bidder, are you out?
been chatting.
Okay, if so, 1,260,000 for the first time, 1,260,000 for the second time, 1,260,000 for the third.
315, 317.
Brilliant.
Here we go.
317 I have, 319.
You tune in at 11 o'clock, in-stock still going to be on lot one, rinsing every single penny from it.
320. Okay, we're going to go up in even numbers now. 322 next. 322 next bid. We're at £320,000. We all 322 is now bid. Back to your phone bidder now. 324.
Fun
Do you wanna
fact
go
about Andrew
324?
Binstock.
We're currently at 322,000.
You guys want to hear fun fact about Andrew
322,000
Binstock?
pounds twice. Are we all done for the third
Go
and
on.
final
Yeah,
time?
go
It's
for
about
it.
to go.
In the early
Gonna
days,
lose
he
it.
used to
Any
stand-up
more?
comedy.
Give me a single. I'll take
He
a single
did.
if it's super
This is
quick.
true.
323, 3 seconds.
And
Three.
I guess that's what makes you an amazing
323 is
auctioneer.
bid.
You can make
324.
fun of people like live. You can also get them to
324.
bid.
324 and a half. 325.
Also, just so you guys know,
It's
we've got
324 with Mr. H.
bidding game going on for lot 3, 5, and 9. So lot 3 is a semi-detached workshop with planning permission converting to 2 houses. And this is, let me just share this. This is a CGI job. However, it's got planning. So it's a justified CGI. And this is what the site looks like. And it's being sold by a well-known trader, Dan Holmes. And it looks really good, to be honest. Houses here go for approximately 500, 550. So it's not a bad value area. So what I've guessed is,
I think a lot of this stuff is there is a bit of speculation because obviously you still have to go through all of the discharge of planning conditions, the building, everything else. Yes, obviously you've got full planning, but full planning doesn't necessarily translate into you will be able to build whatever the planning. I think it's 2 houses for this, because a lot of the time people will just get it for the sake of just selling it on and not actually for the sake of building it. So I think there's a risk there that people have got to think about and factor in. And then I also think people think it's a developer that's going to buy it. They want a third margin, and then obviously they want to pay a third for it, and then obviously they want a third build cost. But sometimes you might find it's a local builder or developer or a local owner-occupier that might build them both out, live in one, sell the other one off. So they don't need as much margin in them. So that's the other thing with these ones is there's no logic in what they sell for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's at 200? We're at 190 at the moment. Then once, well, there's 200 now. Back to 210. 210.
Watch how Andrew slows everything down. He's very cool, calm, collected. He's got a bit of a aura, charisma about him, and he's just very confident what he does. And I just think that gives a lot of the buyers confidence as well when they're bidding. Take my money. Here you go.
2-bed flat in Herne Hill. Can I say 2? Yeah, I can. 215 now. 215. Jake, you come in if you're coming in. If not, it's 210. Muzef, it's you at the moment. Mr. J, what are you saying? 215?
Mr. J?
You're at 215. You were first. Okay, we've got 215 now on Jake's phone. It's against loads of you on the internet for 220. There it is, 225, Jake.
But this is the kind of activity as well. That's something we're going to be doing on our retreat. We had a previous retreat in October where there were actually live deals happening. And this is the best thing about the kind of environment we're creating, where people literally are there to take action on things straight away. So looking forward to that retreat.
I see it. Thank you. 26. 26 next. We're at 24 once. Twice.
I noticed Adam had the picture of Marbella behind him as well.
It's with you in actually, mate.
Yeah, I know. I got the same one.
There we go.
228 is on the phone.
Oh, there we go. Wow. I thought that would be your son playing rugby.
Look at some of these dodgy people on there as well. Look at that.
Someone round it to 230. Thank you. 232.
Looks like lockdown was quite tough.
Yeah.
Are they still
even though that was 2019.
2019 indeed, confirmed date stamped and everything.
Mr. S, I can see you wiggling away. I'll take a single off you.
Wow.
Go on, I've done it for you. There we are.
That was a game changer.
You're in at 2,
Marbella
3,
2019 was an
1
absolute
now.
game changer.
Yeah,
What a
I
retreat.
remember.
For a lot of reasons.
Yes.
Changed some people's games more than others, my friend.
34.
I'll never forget that pair of shoes, but I'm guessing we probably shouldn't take the live stream in that direction.
Oh,
is bid,
what goes on in
36.
in retreats stays in retreats. But yeah, that was one for the books.
Thank you, 37.
All I'll say is the message you sent me saying, "What have you done to him?" As if I took the blame
And
straight
8.
away. I was not even
Jake, you
remotely
just jump
involved.
in when
Not even
when you're
remotely
ready.
involved.
In fairness, you'd be the person I'd go to blame as well.
39.
How did you instigate this, Adam? What did you do?
Nice and quick,
All I'm
Mr.
going to say
Thank you
is,
very
anyone
much.
come to Portugal,
240.
make sure you do not forget your wallets. Bring your wallets with you.
41.
We are not lending you money for a variety of reasons.
42.
Yeah.
Mr. S, you're very naughty. You made me break it in singles and you've been bidding like mad. 243.
So I think
Very
what's
naughty.
really
43.
interesting to notice about this style of auctioneering is that it goes on for quite
No,
a
we
while.
don't know.
I
We have
think
42
Auction House London
once. And twice.
is
43. You're back
doing
in.
the largest
44.
number of minutes per lot
44.
from all of the
Feels like we're down
auctioneers.
to 2 of you then. 44.
And it's obviously it's got
45.
good impact on the sale prices. But
45
if
is
this
bid.
property was in
46.
Barnard Marcus auction, that would have been already in lot
46.
7 or 8.
47.
And this bidding wouldn't be going on for such a long time. So the
48.
person who asked about what are the best auctions, Milan actually,
48. 49.
read between the lines,
49
basically.
now. 250. 51.
Feel like it looks like Ed wants to do a deal, lot
Thank you.
105A.
52.
105A.
53, Mr.
Let's see what
S.
that is.
Piot's on it, Ed. Don't you worry.
Is
Piot's to the
your bid,
rescue.
and that puts you, Mr. J, on 54. Thank you. 55.
105.
Is there. 56. 57. 58.
Lovely, lovely, lovely
59.
boat.
Ed, you got to stop this. This is terrible behaviour. That's enough. It's enough.
What did
Okay.
Adam say about leverage earlier?
So, but Ed has come to one of our retreats, and we cannot share the full story about it. We could share in our retreat, next one, but Ed has done something pretty amazing. And actually, this boat is a really good boat as well. However, very different to the deal that Ed did in the past. So Ed did a deal on a boat who planned to Airbnb and use for his own purposes. This boat is in a better location in Battersea, and basically it's a much bigger boat. I think it was purchased for something like 200K by someone, and now it's being offered with a guide of 100K. However, this can only be used as a private residence. It cannot be Airbnb. And that's really where the money is in those boats. Unless someone wants to live on the boat, they wouldn't get the mooring rights, and they wouldn't get the mooring extension on this one. And
We may have
the
already
mooring
looked
is
at this one.
approximately 30,000 per year, I believe. Something like this.
So Lee, do you want to change your message of encouragement to Ed?
Go for it, Ed.
Go for it, Ed. Lee was also on the retreat, so saw what Ed did firsthand, and obviously saw the amount of champagne bottles that were popped when the first deal happened.
400,000. 400, may I say anywhere, for a 3-bed workshop with planning. Who's at £400,000? 400 is bid. Thank you. 410. 410 anywhere. Thank you. 410, may I say? 410 is bid. 420.
This is going very
Thank you.
fast.
430. 430. It's
Come on, slow it down.
£40,000 then, right now, for the first time
Go
at
in
420.
fives.
For the
Fives.
second time at 420. Are we all done for the third? At 430, 440.
Let's break it down in ones.
440. Thank you. 450.
Well, they're still jumping
wow.
in tens. He's not going to drop it
450.
to ones.
It's 440,
Keep
Mr.
it there.
B.
We're
Anyone
good.
else at 450? If not for the first time, then at 440,000. 450, 460, 460.
So Adam, how
Thank you.
much do you think a
470.
CGI is worth now? Costs you $5,000.
Yeah,
Will make you what, 100?
470.
I trust in bin stock.
Yeah.
Loads of you are
In
moving
Bitstock,
around
we
with
trust.
mouse pads 'cause our
The bin
screen's
stock has
different
just
colour.
the stock in the bin stock has gone up.
I would,
Mr. I, Mr. Z,
Stop
all of
bin
you who
stock.
are doing something,
Yeah.
would you like to make it 470?
I did mine based on a
Take
residual, which I'm
465 if you're
guessing you guys did the same,
465. Yeah,
with
we'll
a bit
take
of
it in
guesswork.
fives now. Thank you, Mr. I. Your bid at 465,
Well,
470.
well done, Adam.
Plus, Adam, you just went that little bit higher just so you're at the top. Just in case it sold for anything more than that, it was all
I can
yours.
show you my residual calculations. We've got 452, 380, and 95 pence is what I had.
No, we all done, are we? At
And you rounded up.
£465,000 then for Diamond
Well,
Road.
I know Andrew doesn't
Barney,
like to
all
sully himself
done.
with
I'll
his
take
little
two then
bids,
from
you know,
Mr.
so.
P. Can I bring you in for another two?
But you're quite right. There was no point going 468 or whatever. Just apart from if I wanted to do a safe and get it bang on the money, obviously.
Thank you. 469.
They're interesting, these sort of things, because I think if you're ever thinking of bidding on them,
You 469.
you know your opponent,
Yes
you
or
know,
no, sir?
and your opponent
469.
here
If
is
not,
probably
go 467
local
once,
builder
twice.
who can deliver them fairly
Third and
cheap,
final time at
who's got
460.
cash, who's a builder
469,
developer, who's got
471.
cash, who won't be borrowing a lot to
471
deliver
next.
this project probably, and is happy with a margin and is not having to worry about financing costs, or might take a small amount of leverage, but this is unlikely to be bought on a 70% development loan or a bridge or something like that, in my view.
473.
No, they'll buy it. They'll buy it cash, and then they'll get lending to do the work. And that's exactly how they'll play it. That's how the smaller guys operate. And the lenders love them. Absolutely love them. They've got no debt on land cost. All they're doing is funding the build out. So it's super low risk for a lender.
If not, it's 471 once, twice. Third and final time at 472, 473.
This is good bidding.
473
This is good bidding.
next. Thank you. 474.
I mean, Hornchurch is a solid area as well. So
474.
It is, but it's got a cap on what they're going to be worth as well.
It's 73 once. It's 73 twice. Are we all done for the third and final time now? £473,000. Last couple of seconds. Mr. I's gone. Think it's all yours, Mr. P. Oh, Mr. I's back quickly. It's 2 clicks, Mr. I. You've done one. There you go. You're in at 474.
2 clicks.
that's the equivalent of walking out of the room in
475.
person and then sneaking back in and throwing your hand in the
476.
air. I like that. That's a solid move.
No, it's 475 then. Once, twice.
So just for everyone's
Third and final
knowledge,
time
like
now,
what the
470,
auctioneer sees on the screen,
476,
as with the people who are bidding online,
77.
they can actually see where the mouse is,
Thank you.
whether it's on the bid
478. One of
button,
you two's winning
whether
it.
someone is logged in
478.
online,
Back to you,
whether they're
Mr.
moving
I.
the mouse or whether the mouse is stationary.
Mr. P,
They can
477
guess a lot of
once,
things
twice.
from that
Third and final
behavior.
time at 477. You're in 478, 479, 79 now. Thank you, 480.
Yeah, this is what auctions are all about. There's one
It's
little
479. It's Mr.
1K
P. It's against you, Mr.
increments.
I. Tell me if you're coming in for another 1,000. Otherwise, it's going to go. Once it's 479, twice at 479. Third and final time at 470, 480, 481.
This has got 500,000 in it, hasn't it?
481.
Someone's just gonna.
Thank you. 482. 482.
I think the interesting thing
It's
on this as
81
well,
once.
they've said
It's
yeah,
81
completion
twice.
available before the 1st of April,
Hold
should the
on.
buyer require
Any
it.
more? Last 482.
But the
brilliant-
thing is, I saw
brilliant
that
move.
too.
Now.
I saw that too, but it's very just
83,
psychological because it
84.
makes
It is.
zero difference. Because this is a commercial
84.
purchase. This is a workshop. It's a
Yeah.
commercial stamp duty. There's no changes whatsoever in stamp
83
duty.
is the bid.
Exactly.
However, it will
84
make
is
saying
now
that
in.
certain people think,
85.
"Oh, I'll save on the stamp duty." No, you won't. It's going to be exactly the same,
85,
but
Mr.
it
P.
will
It's
stimulate
against
some
you.
people to bidding.
That's
Mr.
exactly
I's
my
going
point.
to win it,
There's a
but
lot of
only
people
get
that are
another
like,
from
I
you
need
then
to complete
once,
this before
twice.
end of March, and I'm like,
Last
why? I said, you're
3
paying
seconds
less
for
than
you,
1,
Mr.
2,
P.
5
Here
for
we
it. It
go,
makes
3.
no difference at all. It's not going to change
You're in
anything
at
for you.
485.
So,
486.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
think
it could
people's
be to do with.
psychology.
Sometimes it could be to do with
486.
maybe the end of tax year
Quick as you can,
for
Mr. I.
companies.
486.
Usually,
Thank you.
it's
487.
31st of March is quite a significant
87
date,
now.
and maybe some companies have
88.
some cash to
I
deploy.
think you're being too technical. I think this is just smoke and
88.
mirrors completely. Or, like, completely smoke and mirrors. Great little
It's
marketing
against you,
tactic
Mr.
though.
R. You're lit up on my screen in purple, which means you're about
It's
to
like
bid.
the
Can you do it quickly?
56 days available on
Otherwise,
request.
it's going
If
to
you
go
don't
then.
request it, you're not going to get it, kind of thing.
Third and final time at 488, 489, 489.
Do you think this is going to get to 500?
It looks like it, doesn't it?
490.
If it was any other auctioneer, I'd say no, but with bin stock, I think probably.
It's
Yeah.
489 once, twice. Third and final
So
time
in
at
25 minutes of
489,000,
this auction,
490.
3 lots been offered.
491. It's 490 then, once, twice, third, 491, 492. No, 490. Give me 494. Let's go up in twos. 494. Mr. P,
Look on his face like, I'm
494.
not dealing with
Selling
this
at
shit right
492
now.
then.
I'm not doing £1,000 bid. You're in or you're out.
Twice. Are we all done for the third and final time then at £492,000? Last 3 seconds. You can have it on a single for 3. 3, 2, 1. Wow, well done. Mr. I, that's sold to you for 400.
Well done,
I
Adam.
jumped out and then jumped back in and stole the bid.
Isn't it nice that we've all got one? That's ever so sweet, isn't it? So I think I was also thinking on those. They normally sell for too much money, right? Because this is probably a bit of a, but it could be quite good from a tax perspective. Because if someone's going to move into one and sell the other and look to recoup their 493k plus a bit or whatever, it might make good. It might be a pretty sensible tax play as well. So there could be something if you're mobile and you've got the skills and all that. If you've got the right buyer there, it might be quite interesting.
Interesting. Let's see. Well, the next one that we're going to be guessing is lot number 5, which is a short lease flat, which actually someone asked the question how we value about the short lease flats. What's interesting about this one is the moment I was putting this in the spreadsheet, the guide price was 150, and that was yesterday. Now the guide price is 190. Which tells me there's been quite a lot of interest in this property, and the reserve was moved up. And it's a 2-bedroom flat. There we go, 2-bedroom flat in North Finchley. It's in need of refurb, more than cosmetic, I would say. And it's 32 years unexpired on the lease. And this property is also, there's been similar flats sold in this with this kind of lease, in like around 32 years left, and our guesses are here. So I'm saying 210. Adam, 187. This is below the guide price, the current guide price. I think they 167 from Jay. Ooh, Jay, so sorry.
You know, I tell you what my problem is with these is I think flats are very sticky at the moment, and I think
that's exactly where I was. Yeah.
But I'm not going to move the needle on that. I'm happy to be wrong. I don't.
Flats and big blocks are very sticky. Masonette, not usually.
Good qualifier. Piotr stitched us up with column C guide price there.
This was the seller's fault.
I think we'll have to. I think this one will be void.
Please report to trading standards, okay? Any
really
complaints?
interesting. Safe way high, isn't it? Way high, but
very high.
Let's see.
Yeah. So one of the
either there's lots of interest, which is why they pumped the price up, or it was a trader that put it in at a low price to gain to get the interest, has had to put it closer to his reserve point, and they've had to do that knowing that the chances are it's going to go unsold at that higher reserve point, but at least they're setting a value expectation for post auction.
What do you think about doing that, about raising the guide significantly close to the auction?
I don't like it.
Would you ever recommend doing it?
No, I tell you what I think works really well at the moment, I think, is if you do a last minute price drop.
Yeah.
Coming up to the auction.
We
showing
reduce
that there's some
guides.
desperation, some blood in the water, get the sharks swimming. I think that's how you do it.
We got caught by this as well, and
We
also
did,
is
yeah.
actually doing this. They offer a lot of housing association stock, well priced, super low guide prices. But what they do, they actually, instead of rising guide prices, they actually drop it the day before the auction, which made us think, oh, there's very little interest. We're gonna absolutely steal this. No, it went for like triple the guide price.
Crazy money.
It's actually a good way of stimulating.
I've done that quite a bit recently on a lot of stock that we've sold, just reducing guide prices, and it works really, really well.
This whole pushing the price up because to make people think, oh, there's a lot of interest. I think it's a BS move now. I think the real move is do a drop, incentivize people further at like the last hurdle, like the last 2-3 days,
Guys,
and watch it fly.
so
Oh, here we go.
we got 5 already at 250. Come on, say
250.
It's obviously the highest bid. I have to take it. 252, Mr. G. 253.
Well, it doesn't really matter what the outcome
We're in
is. Safe has won
singles.
that one.
No, you're done. 252,
Did,
Mr.
yes.
G. You, sir, once.
No, it does matter.
Twice.
So want it on the nose, Jay.
All done. 252,000
You want it on the nose.
pounds for
You're not
Brian
taking it as a
Park.
win
Last
unless
couple
it's
of seconds.
exactly 269.
It's going to have to drag, even
Now,
for
Ollie.
Bidstock, this will be a special finish here. This will, if this gets
Come on,
to
Bidstock.
269.
Mr. G, well done,
Fair
sir.
enough.
That's
Very
yours.
fast.
I'll
Okay,
take it.
so
Well, I'll tell you.
50.
Look at this. Look at this. So this one was obviously guided 150, then guide increased to 190. This one, very similar. First floor masonette, 3 rooms, unmodernized, 99-year lease from 1957. So actually 1 year shorter, and it sold for 214. It's pretty much identical flat, right? What's the
I'll
condition?
tell you what the difference is.
so now Piotr reveals his due diligence. There we go. There we go.
I'll tell you what the difference is though. Bin stock, and it's the first 10 lots. That's why.
Yes. And
Yeah,
the
I'll do it.
difference is also my Q auction is that eBay style auction where you just click, which works. It's functional. It's really good. However, a good auctioneer, I think, adds a lot of value.
To be fair, I backed him on the other 2 lots, and he didn't let me down on the first one. So I don't know why. I was with Jay in terms of sticky stuff. To be honest,
Yeah.
The one that we said is going to go on sold with Allsop, all of us said it's going to go on sold. That's the stuff that's sticky. It's those
do you know
kind of
what's
buildings.
interesting? Do you know what's interesting as well about those that I often find the phrase that I used to hear again and again when I was involved in estate agency locally,
300.
because there's quite a lot of short lease stuff, just like there always is anywhere. People say, "Well, I'll just buy it. Don't worry about the lease. Don't worry about the lease. It's still got 20 years, 30 years. I only want it to live in for a bit." It's like, you're basically renting that property. That's pretty crackers right there. That's pretty crackers. But enough people, just because you've got a couple of $100,000 in the bank doesn't mean you're intelligent, does it? You know, so ultimately, enough people would make crazy moves like that. And yeah, begging belief, really. But how do you educate them without being a bit condescending apart from anything else, you know?
You don't. You become a trader and you sell properties. That's what you do.
What's a rhetorical question, but that's still a very good answer, mate. Very good.
I would go from being condescending to outright rude. Do you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes you have to offend people for the message to get in.
You're 310.
I agree.
310 on the phone. So this is
So that is a very Polish move. I thought you'd agree. Yeah.
320. Sorry, this is how auctions work. People hand me notes.
Okay, well,
we're in the middle of a bidding war.
let's see what's happening in Allsop. Allsop is selling a clockhouse mushrooms. Let me just share this tab instead. This is
That's
clockhouse
Savills.
mushrooms. Egham, sorry, freehold site, almost a hectare, comprising 16 industrial units. The current rent of 80,000. 3 units
Oh, wait, it's a
vacant.
mushroom grow. They use those industrial units to like high moisture mushroom grows.
Is it? Okay. Very
Pretty cool.
interesting. But it's actually selling really, really well. 80,000 income, 80,000 income, and 1.9 million already.
Goodness me.
Very big
Nice part of
site,
the world,
though.
though. Nice part of the world.
Yeah, Egham is good.
Let me check this property and bring it up on screen. Upcoming auctions.
I know we leave the difficult ones alone. not that I want these in the prediction. Just in case you ever invite me again, forget about it. I'm delighted that I got one, to be honest, against you veterans.
Look at this, guys. This was guided 1 million, and it's already almost at
double. Wow.
1960. Yeah. Wow.
And what's inside? This looks like content.
I mean, you think you've got a fair bit of scope for some more units on there, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, maybe they're thinking they can optimize the site better.
I mean, what percentage of that is? I'm just going to run that through the mapping software and have a look at what percentage of the site is actually developed there, because that's potentially interesting.
But
If
it
somebody
just doesn't look like a
drug manufacturing warehouse facility, weird setup.
I mean,
really
is somebody
strange
looking at this as like a grey belt development? Because the grey belt stuff is really sexy now, isn't it?
Maybe they just had some of their own mushrooms, mate. I don't know. You don't know.
I know. Well, they called it mushrooms. I thought, is this one of those mushroom grows? Because they like grow shiitake and all these other kind of really fancy, expensive mushrooms. But
I mean,
but look at this. Like, actually, none of those sites are used for mushrooms. EW Waste, Design Factory, car truck and vans, tires.
Playgrounds. There's office space there, isn't there?
So it's actually none of this is used for mushrooms. It maybe used to be a mushroom farm, but no longer.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the mushrooms we were hoping that it was.
Yeah.
The answer to the question: only 15.7% of the plot is built on.
I mean, a lot of that is hard standing. There's a lot of hard standing there. Does it factor that in as well?
There is. So 1440 square meters built on what they say is 0.9 hectares.
Yeah.
I mean, the cost of that hard standing is a lot.
And
that's a lot.
Valid comment from Top Cat. It's mushrooms and asbestos.
But the yield for those tiddly units, it's interesting, isn't it?
Let's
over the two bars now.
And it can't just be one person that thinks it. There's at least 2 to 3 people bidding this up over 2 mil.
You could be looking at what's the site to the north there.
220.
Someone might want to extend something.
2,020,000.
There's loads more.
20 I have now. 2,025,000. 2,025,000 then. 2,025,000 we're looking for. Ben, it's your turn. 2,025,000, please. If not, at £2,020,000, are we all done? For the first time, second time, third and one time, £2,020,000. Are we all done? 2,002,000.
Just gone up 5. Come on,
it's inherently developable as well, isn't it?
Where's he
going?
Wow.
George has disappeared.
George!
230 I need. Back to
there he is.
My internet bidder. 2,030,000.
Psychological games with the bidders.
2,035,000. Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher, back to you at 2,035,000. There we go. 2,035,000. Now 40. Straight back. I have 2,045,000. 2,045,000 now.
Very, very interesting.
2,045,000. All done. Been with me all the way at £2,040,000. Then on the 2,045,000, £2,050,000.
Wow.
£2,050,000.
Okay.
Then.
This is very, very interesting.
£2,050,000. We will have to wrap this up shortly. We've got other properties to sell, but £2,050,000 has been bid. £2,055,000.
Don't rush a £2 million fee. Come on, son.
Okay, let's see what's happening here. Lot 7.
You wouldn't actually hear that from Auction House London. They would run the bidding for as long as it takes to get the most money. You wouldn't hear them say, "Yeah, let's hurry this up now."
Especially at those.
Oh wow, Ed's point on this one. Egham, sorry, I reckon Heathrow Airport are buying it up. They want the mushrooms and the asbestos. TW20.
Where is this on the map? Let's actually check it.
Well, Ed's a local boy. He'll know roughly where that is.
Yes, map. It's
Scrolly outy scrolly.
It's where's Heathrow? Heathrow is over there. It's quite far from Heathrow, to be honest. But nevertheless, well located. This a very good lot.
Lots of local drug dealers wanting to grow things in Surrey. Great remote location. No one's going to come to you. No one's going to bother you. 2 in 1 though, isn't it? You can launder your money and you can use it to grow drugs. Brilliant. On a serious note though, I literally have no clue what someone will do with a site like that. Genuinely no clue.
Especially at 2.1 mil, right?
Do you
I mean,
think
it's
this could be a
commercial now,
development site in the future?
I don't.
That's what I said. I think the grey belt. I think this falls within the grey belt, and there's a lot of kind of positive
It's a
noise
weird-
about grey belt planning.
It's a weird shape though, isn't it? And it's
It's
Yeah.
Just outside
yeah.
of the residential development envelope, surrounded by some commercial and other land, across the road from the motor. It's perfect for the grey belt stuff.
Let's say this is all commercial, and there's a villa with a swimming pool. Couple of villas with swimming pools. Do you think this would be this commercial owner trying to buy this site?
Could be.
yeah. To do what with?
Could very well be.
To have a full residential scheme, you mean?
A massive development, yes.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense at those kind of prices. What is it at the minute? Yeah.
It's at 2125. It's not ending anytime soon.
Okay. Don't forget Auction House London. We've got lot 9 that we've got on our predictions, which is
This would be
Yeah.
such a beautiful underwrite.
Yeah, if you underwrote it at 1 million.
I think it's always
hindsight.
easy to underwrite when you know it's gone blown way past the guide. Yeah, yeah.
You would not have underwritten the Worthing property. Let's put it that way.
No.
Absolutely not.
What lot number is Auction House London at? Yeah,
I think
Lot
they're on
7.
7 or 8. Yes.
7 or 8. Okay, fine. So still got time for lot 9.
Yes.
Lot
So
9.
let's
Let's have a look at it.
look at quickly lot 9.
I think we are well done. Mr. G.
This was one that I picked out. I really liked this, and I was clearly the harshest on what I think it would sell for. But I like.
So this is not too dissimilar to lot number 3 that we were looking at. However, this one doesn't have planning. And just a brief history. I don't know if you guys see this fence over here. So this was purchased as a whole site with this house to the right, and this was split off this site. So it's being sold as that's why it's called building to the side of number 18, and it's a workshop without planning, 300 square meters. Fairly, I mean that's the site. Obviously, the workshop is smaller.
Thanks for the info, Piotr. We didn't know that because we didn't do extensive DD like you did. Good to know.
Yeah, the site, the whole site was purchased for approximately 750 last year, and I think that's pretty much what this house in good condition is worth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say though, because that when you look at the garden, which is non-existent, it's almost like a bit of a triangle. That garden is what's going to let the property down. That is the biggest problem. If you look at it, you almost it comes to a point, that little garden, like a little triangle. And you've got this big front drive area and then nothing at the back. And I think that's the only thing that's going to let this down compared to lot 3. And the fact it's got no planning whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Eltham is it's kind of I think that's probably why I'm at that. I'm quite low on this at 297. I still think there's because does it require full planning, or will PD work on something like this, or could you stack PDs and then go for full planning?
I think you could probably get away with PDs, but it will look very ugly with PD, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because it's got flat roof, etc.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna have to go for, in my opinion, you're gonna have to go for full planning, knock it down, get full planning.
I think you could probably. I would go in with PD, which they would have to approve, and then I would run a full planning alongside it, saying, "Wouldn't you rather this to make the full planning kind of argument look a little bit more attractive.
They've got some CGIs as well, haven't they? Which look pretty good, but it's got nothing to do with what it currently looks like. And also, I don't think they've taken into consideration the size of the plot, etc. in there.
No.
I just went with the old logic of, I think people are going to pay too much for this. Right. So that sort of stuck me. I did a bit of residual and thought that, although I think
Sorry,
what you
guys,
said
lots
is
of
dead,
activity going on.
I think what you said is dead right, but I think there'll be people. I think people will be put off. Will not be put off as they maybe should be, which is why I punted high. But yeah, I think you can see why you guys are where you are. But I think it'll just carry a bit far. And I'm trusting the bit. I'm trusting Vinzilla.
Yeah, Binzilla. Yeah. I still have him in my phone book as Binzilla.
That's never going to change, is it? They can't change that.
No.
Let's put the volume up here.
Sorry.
Is on the 9th of March,
No.
10 days ago. So that was a mistake.
Can you turn up
So
the
goes
volume?
to type.
I'm going to give you a verbal addendum, which is to
Oh.
state that you have regular completion on this. So 28 days or 20 working days, whichever you prefer, but it's a regular general condition of sale style completion on this. So 4 weeks. All right. Lot number 9. So ignore the typo in the specials. This is building on the side of 18 Bowmead in Eltham.
Verbal
It's a
addendums are
vacant
interesting. So
detached
basically,
workshop,
they're not putting
situated
it in
on a
writing, but
plot
they're
of
obviously just
land,
announcing it. And whatever they
measuring
announce
approximately
is going to
300
be
square meters,
what's going to be set in
potential
stone and
for
precedent. So
development, subject
it
to
looks like there was a
obviously
different
obtaining
date for
all
completion
relevant
on the
consent.
special conditions.
I
But
can see
Vinstock's basically
there's some
overridden that
drawings
and
on
said
this
you've got
one.
28
That's
full
just purely
days
for
to complete.
artist impression. Excuse me. Auction House London do not make any
Mentioned your artist
warranties
impression,
or
PR.
representations
It's a good
of
sign.
the validity of that scheme. You would have done your own homework on it. Right, lot number 9. Let's start, shall we? Who's at 200,000 for Bowmead? This site in Bowmead. Who's at
Start at 200 and get Jay out straight away.
I'm at
200, lots of you,
297.
thank you. 210.
All right, 200. Right, okay,
Who's at
fine.
210?
Let's start 300.
210 anyway, thank you. 220. 220, thank you. 230.
I think Adam's right. And even your idea, Safe, if you have to knock this
230,
down and
may I
go
say?
for full planning,
Thank
you would just build
240.
it closer to the road and you'd give yourself
Thank you,
more of a back
250.
garden. So
People,
100%.
yeah, people are
250.
paying more money for plots like this, and
260.
it doesn't always make sense numbers wise. And the GDV's there to do it, isn't it? Just about because
Lots of you having a think. It's currently with a
I banged
Mr.
very
P
loosely
at
on something brand new and really
250,000
nice,
for
being
lot number 9.
10,
Are we all done
15%
at
above where the
250?
market is.
I'm sure we're not. Let's go 255 then. Come on, we'll take 5s.
Oh.
He's already dropping to 5.
255.
Uh-oh.
All right, it's still with the Mr. P then at 250 once.
Okay.
250 twice.
This might be yours by default.
Go on, I'll make it 251.
Oh,
Oh no,
Does that help?
disaster strikes.
251.
we've lost all the
It
momentum
did help.
at
I thought
250.
it might.
That's nuts.
All right, we're at 251 now. That's 252.
I
Pick it
genuinely
up,
think the shape of this
Andrew.
plot
Pick
is let
it up,
down.
pick it up, pick it up.
Here was the three of us digging this up. It's
Mr.
going to go
Pitt,
for monster
against
money
you,
and
sir.
it's
You're
died
going
a
to
death.
lose it to Mr. G if I don't see your bid at 252 in the next 3 or 4 seconds. Here we go. Once. Twice.
250 increments. Come
Third
on.
and final time. All finished. I'm trying to give you a bit of thinking time. Oh, Mr. M, where did you come from? You jumped up to the bottom of my
Which one of you
screen
just
to the
logged
top.
on? Which one of you
You're
did it?
252. 253. Back to you, Mr. G. You have a new competitor. 253 is the next bid on this one. Otherwise, it's 252 with a very late bid, but is it enough? Once, twice, third and final time with Mr. M. Here we go. Last 3 seconds, Mr.
Guys,
G.
just so
3,
you know, the mushroom
2,
farm is still going.
1.
2.3 now.
All done? I think we are. Mr. M, where did you come from? You nicked that
Mr.
right
J.
at the end.
Howard.
Well done.
Stolen.
252.
Absolutely stolen.
The only time you can be
Good.
40
Lot
grand away and
10
still win it, Jay.
is
Well done.
tw-
I'm
Well done.
blaming the
Ambrose
CGIs. Blame the
Road in
CGIs.
Bexley Heath. It's a
That was
vacant
theft.
3-bedroom
That's
semi-detached
the second
house.
one today that I think has been absolutely stolen.
I show you guys this site. So it's over here, this little corner here. This was the site that was purchased, and this is some value, 750 for this one. I think this will be easily have 600, 650 house once done up, once converted. So
Horrible garden though, Piotr. Horrible garden. Look at that garden.
but there was some refused planning as well.
I mean, if you look at the feng shui of it, you do not want the, because the fortune comes in the front door and you need a square garden to capture all of that good energy. Because actually, if it points out, you're creating a funnel for all of the good energy and wealth and fortune to leave your home.
That's true.
380 is big,
Chinese
thank you.
person wouldn't buy
290.
that property.
Should be 2 more.
Okay, so what's
390 I have.
happening?
400.
Mushroom farm going
400 is
strong.
bid.
Let's dial into the mushroom farm for a while because this is a good little story. This I have no idea what can any of us think of what the value metric here is for it to be at 2.335.
2340.
I have
Must
no
be based
idea,
on
but
GDV for residential. Has to be.
Yeah.
You're not
I have
going to
no
get
idea, but I
commercial.
know
Mine's
that
a
the
bit
George
of
would
a
have done 10,000
On the
steps
phone,
while
two-
offering this
Yeah.
lot.
Yes.
For the 5.
He's burning away the fat on
For
the
the
on the
5.
rostrum.
If not,
George
first
just
time,
can't wait to put his gavel down. He's just thinking, just get it gone.
£2,340,000. Third and final time, there we go, 2,345,000. Straight back to it. First time, £2,345,000. Second time,
Look how fast he's trying to put that gavel down.
Pressure's still on, 2,350,000. First time.
The bidding must be so ferocious that he can't even put that gavel down quickly enough. That's how strong the bidding is.
Greg, are you ready?
And the fact that he looks like he's desperate to put the gavel down is I'm not a fan of that.
2,360,000. I have 3.
I think they've told him get this gone because we've got so many lots to get through today. They're putting the pressure behind the scenes on good old George. George might lose his job on this one.
No. I think they put a lot of investment into the commercial property team, and he was probably him and Nicholson Boyd were probably two of the first in that commercial department that they've been fleshing out. George is a good guy.
£370 again, leaving it right to line.
Can't put it down.
It's dangerous.
He wants to, but he can't.
Is my art. Ben, back to you. If not, we are selling £2,370,000 to my internet bidder.
Oh, that was quicker.
Ben, with you, 375. First time, second time, third and final time at 2,380,000.
Wow.
385.
Put it back up into 20s, George. Someone's sending the message to put the increments back up. Going up in 5s is pointless.
385. I have now 390.
That's what I would have done.
Well, let's come back to this in half an hour.
390.
Yeah.
Against you, internet bidder at 385.
Look at this. Allsop is already lot number 40,
Wow.
which is really quick. We've got a new auctioneer.
It's 3 Alfram Green in Tarpley in Cheshire, freehold semi-detached house, subject to an assured tenancy. Don't get many of these days.
Very,
Three-bedroom
very
accommodation,
different tone of voice.
A rent of just under £9,000.
It's almost like listening to an audiobook.
So nice lot. Lot 40A.
So nice lot. 40A.
Green in Tapley.
Where'd you start me? Where'd you start me for this?
I think a very reasonable £145,000.
Has to be very reasonable.
145, please.
He has got a good audible kind of voice to him, hasn't he?
Anything on the internet? 145, must say. Yes, I can. 145 unbid. And take it easy on this. 147 and a half. 145 unbid.
Starting up in 2.5. Wow.
47 and a half. Thank you. 150.
Yeah, Ed, they were drawing them from Savills because they haven't got enough time to offer them now because of this mushroom farm.
57 and a half. 57 and a half on the phone. And 60. No, 57 and a half unbid on the phone. That's with Cameron. Against you, Tom. 157 and a half I have. I say 160.
Ed made the comment that loads of properties have been withdrawn from the Savills auction.
Yeah.
2.4.
2.4.
2.4. It's still going.
So we're at 157,500. And I say 160 anyway. Let's see. First time at 157.5.
Okay, this will put us to sleep. We will go back to the mushroom farm, which has now sold, guys.
Wow. We missed the crescendo.
2.405 million. This is pretty incredible. It's 240%, 240.5% above the guide. I think
used to
that's a
get asked
surprise
quite a
of the
lot.
day.
We used to get asked a lot, like, well, on average, what percent does something sell above the guide? And you just can't give an answer to that. Like, there's no real median that would mean anything to another human being. Anything can happen at auction.
I would love to be where the seller of this property is with a camera and film the reaction.
Thing is, Piotr, sometimes it could be an old boy and it's just another day for them, you know? You never know.
Yeah.
Could be.
I mean, that's the thrill of trading is, you know, even just small lots, every single thing, just the day of the auction is just a brilliant feeling just to be there, see it, live it, breathe it. You know, that's what creates the addiction with trading, which is not a good addiction to be in, but nevertheless, it's one that I'm in.
Yeah. We share the addiction.
I'm just trying to see who the sellers are, and I'm looking at special conditions of that mushroom lot. It's actually the 4 sellers of it, and looks like it could be some sort of, it's a family, 4 individuals, 3 with the same surname, 1 with a different surname, and looks like it could be some sort of maybe executors, although it doesn't say executors, so maybe a family investment of some sort. I'm sure they're pretty happy.
You see lot 179 in Savills, the tiny little Greg store in Clapham, 1.14 guide. It's interesting. Lot 179.
Oh, the next one.
Which is next one.
So which one is it?
Lot 179 Savills. It's the tiny little Greg store in Clapham. 1.14 guide. It's got a big back to it, but it's obviously just the front facade is tiny.
Okay, St. John's Road, Clapham. Can you guys see this? Yes, you can. Prime retail, undoubted covenants of Greg's, 89k.
2022 rent review outstanding. That's interesting.
Break not exercised. That is quite a high rent.
Covenant.
That is quite a high rent. I mean, Greg is good.
Tiny unit.
Tiny unit.
I mean, how many sausage rolls does Greg sell?
Is it by the train station? Is it like within like 100 meters or something like that?
I mean, it's going to be very central, isn't it?
It is literally, yes.
Yeah, so that's why they will pay a premium to be like, you're going to the train station in the morning, you want a little sausage roll or something like that. They do beef up for that 100%.
What do we think this will sell for? Just bear in mind the lease expires in 2027 as well on such a high rent.
Well, it's right next door to McDonald's. It's right next door to Krispy Kreme. I think there will be fairly decent competition for this unit if it was to become vacant.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have huge footfall. They're huge. That is
one of the things that we are getting is a subscription to CoStar, because we want to have access to those commercial
Data.
data for properties like this. Obviously, this is not our cup of tea. We wouldn't buy something like that. This is more for preserving capital and maybe creating income. But at the same time, it's good to know the variables and things that, all the other units, what they're renting for, what's the typical rental for those units.
Have a look at
Let's,
lot 182 PR as well.
182. Let's go.
Let's go.
I think that
Interesting
Grex
lot.
is going to go for 1.2.
Yeah, I was going to say 1.24, 1.23, somewhere around there.
No.
But this is
Oh wow. Oh.
Oh, wow. This is a charging
This is-
station
EV charging station in the car park of Acosta. What an asset.
in Hull.
The stuff that we're seeing is just incredible at the minute. You would not have seen this a couple of
Really
years ago.
interesting to see what that sort of thing goes for. Really interesting.
What multiple would you even begin to calculate on that? Because it's obviously income producing.
I mean, it's let at 3,600 and it's got upwards uncapped CPI rent reviews. Site is operated by BP Pulse, let to Zood Infrastructure Limited for 30 years from 2023.
This is basically a modern age petrol station.
It is.
Yeah, but how long's the covenant been going for, and how easy is it or not? I mean, do you understand enough about the underlying business model, etc., etc., etc.? I mean,
Well, it is
only-
operating by BP Pulse. And
It's only 12 bays as well, which is tiny.
yeah, but Pulse might be the operator, but they don't sign the lease, have they?
No, it's Zood Infrastructure that signed the lease. So that's the more important person to look at.
yeah. What's Zood Infrastructure Limited?
Now find out they're like got £100 million balance sheet and make me look like an idiot.
That would be
Okay.
it. That would be it.
Accounts overdue.
Accounts overdue.
Oops.
That's not a good sign. Other transportation support activities. Okay, so at least the
Pretty good.
code.
Incorporated 16th of August 19, yeah, and already had 15 officers with 12 resignations. It doesn't fill you with a ton of confidence, guys.
JTC.
And it's a group.
Okay, let's look at filing history and the latest
Accounts
account.
for a small company. Yeah, yeah. Who says 50p on a massive loss?
Adam Buffett strikes again.
Okay,
Adam, just so you know, Piot's
minus
Piot's minimum bid
189,000.
is Piot's minimum
We can't see a
stake is
screen.
£20. Scroll in. There we go.
Loss for the year, 190k.
Wow.
Yeah.
Adam, you win.
I mean, their balance sheet's interesting.
Is
Where's
it?
the balance sheet? Oh wow, look at this.
Gee,
Property plan equivalent
Creditors.
4.6.
So
That's
someone's
£26
put,
million of
someone's put
loans.
£1 million in, they've got 800 grand left. But it looks a lot more active than that now, and they're now selling sites off, and their accounts are overdue. And they're not small overdue, they're nearly 3 months overdue.
This
How-
reminds me
how
of
come a
home REIT on an EV scale.
It's like
How come this company?
something doesn't
what do you
work in
think-
this business model would be what's worrying me.
How come, Adam? What do you think? Like, how come they have? Obviously, it's a 5-year company. They've got loans made to others, 26 million.
It could just be part of a big group, couldn't it? Someone's using it. I mean, you'd have to. The thing is, let's have a look at the people who are remaining within the. I mean, the originals are all gone, aren't they?
Interesting. Well,
here we go. What's George going to do with it?
Currently at 380 already.
but the guide was 410.
Now 390, 385 still on the internet, looking for another £5,000 at 390.
This
At
is not an
390 then.
easy purchase. It's
390, 390, I
needs
have
to
to thank
really
you. Now
deeply sweat.
395. Now 395 then.
Piotr, what did the Greg's go for? Just out of interest.
We're at 390, looking for another £5,000 on 147 Eden Road in Hull.
Available.
395 is my
Didn't
395.
sell.
Thank you. Now 400.
Lots of
Now
withdrawals as
400.
well.
Now 400 then. Looking for another £5,000. 400. Looking for 400. If not, at £395,000 then. Are we all done at £395,000?
Okay, guys.
We'll
Well,
go through the motions then.
it's
For the first time,
we're touching on 11 o'clock
£395,000.
after the slot from
The
Savills.
second time,
We're going to be slowly wrapping up. But, hope you guys
the
found this
third and
live
final time
valuable.
at £395,000.
Would you like us to do a
400,
behind the
thank you. Now
scenes from an
405.
auction? Let us
Now
know as well.
405
We
then.
might
Now
as well
405.
try to do it with maybe
400,
Auctioneer
405
London
I
on the
have, thank
23rd
you.
to
405. 405 then.
if
Now
they let us.
410. Now
Drop us a
410
comment if it's
410
something
I have,
that
thank you. Straight
you
back.
would
Now
find
415.
valuable.
Now 415. If not, at £410,000 then, for the electric vehicle charging hub investment in Hull, for the first time at £410,000, for the second time at £410,000,
Go right.
the third and final at
Feel
415.
free to
Thank you.
drop
Now
off whenever you
420.
need to.
Now
Well, thank you for
420.
joining us and
420
providing
straight back. Now 425.
insights.
Thank you for having me.
And well
Now
done for
425.
guessing one correctly.
420 on bid. 425 we're looking for.
I think the curiosity is going to stay on till this sells. The
425
curiosity
now,
will kill him otherwise.
425, thank you, and 430. And 430.
How is this going on? How is this happening?
And 430.
Perhaps in the lease there's stepping rights if it's
We all done at 425?
Zood infrastructure.
Okay, if so,
They lose their shirt.
Beg out.
£425,000 for the
Yeah.
first time.
Maybe.
Unless I get a bid at 430, £425,000 for the second time. £425,000 for the third and final time. Are we all done at £425,000? I'll take it to 427.
I mean, the directors have got quite a bit of stuff going on.
427.
Data centers.
No. Okay.
Talking about due diligence, Adam,
Third and final time,
haven't you got a workshop?
£425,000.
Is it end of this month or beginning of next month?
That's right. It's April the 1st, so it's not an April Fool. But we have got a due diligence workshop. That's right, in London.
Please do get in contact.
Thanks for mentioning that, mate. I'll just pop the link in the live chat comments if
Yeah, do it.
if I can find the tab.
Wow, has that gone unsold?
1848.
Why would they not have put the
withdrawals?
186.
And
has gone unsold?
Unsold, yes.
Reserve must have been 440. But that was a masterclass in how to do due diligence, Adam. So thanks for that.
Yes.
That was the 30-second version. We get a bit more into it on the day.
Yeah.
We're going to start 170.
I tell you what, I do like data centers though, in terms of an asset class at the moment. A lot of government infrastructure money being thrown at that. Planning constraints are being loosened to enable a lot more of those to be built out. You know, the cold store data centers are looking really, really sharp at the moment. If you've got a site that can stomach one of those, I imagine it's going to be absolutely stunning. Capital value and rental, huge.
Guys, I'm going to have to shoot as well.
Brilliant.
We
Yes.
just
Well,
2 hours and 7 minutes.
that's right. Yeah, I think it was really good. Thank you guys for tuning in and dropping comments at Lee, everyone else. And if you want us to do it again, make sure you drop us a comment.
At £190,000 first time. Second
subscribe
time.
to the channel if you haven't.
Just mute him first. There you go. Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna actually do it like this. So yeah, and if you want to find out more about our retreat, drop us a comment. If you want us to sell something in the auction, drop us a message as well. If you want Save to buy something straight away from you for 50p in the pound, do it.
If you want me to, if you want me to guess how much things are going to sell for, just drop me a message. Drop me a message.
Amazing. And
if you want to attend Adam's due diligence course on
Right.
the 1st, that will be Adam, and I'm assuming the legend that is Rod Turner will be sharing.
It will
stage
indeed
with you.
be the very same man. Absolutely.
Sounds like a 2 for the price of 1 job to me. So make sure that you're in on that. That's always good.
And make sure you pick up those post-auction lots. There's some really good lots, I think, available. And so, yeah, again, if you are interested in anything, drop us a message and we'll try to respond. Thank you, guys. Great to have you spend this first 2 hours of the morning with you.
Thanks.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.